Doc, I like these pillows. Where'd you get them from? Your flattery won't work in my office. Listen, I have an irrational fear and worry I need help sorting out. See, I've got 100 subscribers now, so I'm basically a big deal, but I'm not so good at sewing yet, and so that means that I have to repeat a lot of my projects, and I worry that people are going to get bored and they're going to tune out just seeing me make the same thing over and over. First off, could have bought you those 100 subscribers for less than 10 bucks. But more importantly, you can't control what people do. The only thing you can do is focus on making that video every week, getting better at sewing. But most importantly, I've had enough of this narcissistic self-indulgence. Get up off that couch and get to work. That is one nasty therapist. So this week, I'm going to once again make a button-up shirt. And so I went to the thrift store and I picked myself up this bed sheet. I have plenty of fabric to work with, and it's a lot like your typical button-up shirt. Start off with the front piece. Start at the top here. This basic torso pattern is one I've refined for myself and use as the base for most of my tops. And then finish trimming this piece out. Now I fold this in half. There we go. And then I am going to trim it in half. So take this back piece, lay it out, pin this down, but I'm only going to pin at the top here. Draw myself a line 5 inches down. Draw myself a line across, because as you guessed it, this is for the yoke. And as I draw this line, I realize that I should be doubling up my fabric. Wow, I'm really got it together today, huh? The good thing about the pen is that it also creates a crease. Ta-da! I did add 1/2 inch of seam allowance, so another line there. Now I am retrimming 1/2 of these front pieces. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I realized that there's a little stain here. The joys of using secondhand bed sheets. The sleeves here, I'm just trimming out as they are. Nothing fancy. Now I do have to make myself a pattern piece that I didn't last time, which is for the placket, which runs down the middle of the button up. It has to be 24. Plus I'm going to have a little overhang. Let's make it 25. Go ahead and just measure that out. Draw that line. Trim both of these pieces out. And now I did put a second layer underneath, so I have extra. All right, placket piece is ready. But that's not all. I am also trimming out 2 pieces of this placket out of this iron-on interfacing. A rather large sheet, as you may notice. This isn't the last shirt I'm going to make. I think this is enough to start sewing. So lay down 1 piece of the yoke, then the back piece on top, and then the other yoke piece. Of course, pinning would be a smart thing to do, so I hope I remember this correctly. I'm just going off of my memory from the last time, a few months ago. Fold those right way around. Give it a quick pressing. And then just a simple top stitch. Jesus, my pedal's not working so well. I take my one front piece, line it up, but I don't pin it to both pieces of the yoke. Only one. Do the same thing on the other side. Roll this up. Now, same thing with this back piece. Again, roll this up. Nice and tight. Grab these top two that are pinned together. Grab my little sausage rolls of fabrics. Whoop! Around, like so. And then repin this, all three together. So full disclosure, actually I did go back and rewatch the instructional video. I thought I had it memorized, but close that up. Pull these out, little loop-de-loops. Worm it out of here. Okay, there we go. Now press that out as well, that seam. And then run a top stitch along this seam as well. One placket, one bit of interfacing, but check to see, okay, this is the shiny side. Yep, okay, so shiny side down because that's the one that has the glue. Press down, move along, press down, repeat that process. Measure out where I want my creases. Now I want to try something here. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Folded it over on top of my ruler. And then that way I can get nice straight edges. Am I a genius? Have I just figured out a brilliant new technique? You know what? It does make the ruler quite hot though, especially seeing as it's steel. Aluminum, something of that sort. Wow, okay. Maybe not a genius, but clever. How about that? I'll give myself clever. Woo! And then fold that in half. I'm just gonna stitch right on the inside of that crease. Press that seam over so it folds a little nicer, and then this is going to go over top like that, and top stitch that down. Now a trick I've learned is to use my finger and just kind of feel for the crease on the other side, so that way I know they're both lined up. Boom. One side of the placket is on. Repeat that. Two plackets on. Because I altered my body pattern, I also have to redo the collar from the last version. So step one, I'm just gonna walk it out here. Okay, so 15 to there, which means 16 1/4. Okay. And now I'm using this top man shirt that I have, which I quite like, as my template. First, I measured and drew out the band portion of the collar. So now for the actual collar itself, the part that folds down, I'm just going to draw a line here. I'm going to measure my shirt here, so the collar is 1.5 in the middle. Finished transferring over those measurements and completed the top portion of the collar. I'm going to use my French curve at the top here just to give that an ever so slight of an arch. Trim out these pieces. Come on now. Interfacing. Okay. So like that. So that way it makes the hole, but then I also have to double it up because I want 2 pieces. Prepped and cut the top half out of interfacing as well, and I was ready to move on to the next step. Now I iron these pieces down, and let me just check to see what side. I'm going to give myself plenty of room to work with, and then do the same thing with the band of the collar. I'm roughly trimming these out. The real trimming will happen after the sewing. I'm sewing the top part of the collar together first, but I want to try something I saw in another video. Take this piece of thread underneath. No, wait, not through there. Take this thread, put it around here like that, spin it around, and then continue on. I'm just following the interfacing that I ironed down. And now once again, at the corner, take another piece of thread, put that underneath, and just sew down. I didn't do that right. I realize now that I didn't do that right. Okay, that's fine. I was supposed to do that in between the layers and I didn't. But luckily, nothing is lost. I can just string those out. Okay, well, that was useless. If I would have done it in between the layers, what I'm supposed to be able to do is just tug on it and it neatly pulls out these corners, but yeah, I didn't do that right. Everything's nicely lined up. Looks to be. Once again, I top stitch. Looks like a collar, yeah? First, I'm going to find the middle. Give that a crease. Just crease the bottom. Line that up. And now finally, same thing on this side. A little crease. That's got to go this way. And make sure everything is nicely lined up there. And lined up there. Okay. I'm going to start sewing here, so put just 2 pins in. Once again, I'm following the line of my interfacing, and this is attaching the band onto the collar itself. Now here's the real test. Let me check the other side and see how they've lined up. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, not bad. It's all right. A little off on this side here, and then a little bit up here. Okay, well, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. Flip this right way around. The other side as well. And now, the ever so terrifying part of walking it out to make sure everything is the right size. Hallelujah. I sew on just the one side. Okay, now that is the collar attached on one side. Press that seam so it folds inwards. I really hope my stress starts to go down with doing collars one day, because so far it has frightened me every single time. It's just so much that has to line up perfectly. Oh, my goodness. Okay, now just top stitching. I'm not saying a whole lot because this is a quite tricky part of the shirt and I need to focus. Okay, well, the collar is on. Iron that collar down to its final shape. And that is where I'm going to leave it for today. Oh, Manny and Mandy, are we gonna be eating good come fall time? Got some basil, parsley, arugula, tomato, beans, you know, useful stuff instead of the pretty plants we had here before. What do you guys want to make? Silent treatment again? Why are we always getting in these feuds? Okay, that's it. You're coming with me to therapy next week. Bofu zafu, kanake bofu